Let's get salty!
Everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and a lot has changed since our last deck recommendation video when the mini set went live last week. We have a Vicious Syndicate Data Reaper report that highlighted a lot of the best decks, and well, for the first time in a long time, at least for, well, actually both formats, I will not be recommending a Death Knight deck. There is a lot of different stuff to go over, and all my standard deck lists will be taken from this Data Reaper report. It'll be linked below if you want to take a look. There'll be more lists that I didn't include if you're looking for more maybe fringe options, other stuff like that, but you can reasonably expect to take these decks and have a good climb, whether it get to be bronze, silver, gold, diamond, platinum, or even legend for the very first time. And also a friendly reminder, we have our giveaway going on right now for celebrating 69,420 subs, $400 worth of Hearthstone packs out of my pocket. All you have to do to enter is like a comment in the video we're looking at here, be subscribed to the channel, and you have a chance to win. If we hit 71,000 subs by next week, we will add another $100 worth of packs to that giveaway. So hit that sub button, make me go broke. So starting off with standard decks, of course, I'm gonna recommend the deck that is the best at all ranks. Top, legend, bronze, gold, everything. Pure Paladin has been put over the top with the recent addition of Horn of the Windlord, giving the deck all of a sudden a crazy amount of burst when you couple up with Feast of the Famine, which also heals you at the same time, which is pretty darn good. And 4 cQFAAA as well for additional reach, but basically the deck is very similar to what it's been before. It's a little bit late game focused, more so than before, with Leviathan in Anachronos to help you survive longer, because you can win the longer game more. The Purator, the best card in the deck. Keep this in your mulligan. A lot of people don't. This is the best card statistically. And yes, it draws 2 Light Rays. It draws a Leviathan. It draws Anachronos. It just is a really solid card. And yeah, play out your curve. You can get some good burst in there with Disco Maul as well. Really well-rounded, very strong deck, and this list you absolutely cannot go wrong with. Pretty standard, optimized already, and I think you'll have very strong success if you decide to play that deck. The second best deck, according to Vicious Syndicate, is Enrage Warrior. Yes, Warrior still doing incredibly well. Almost all these cards have been buffed at some point, but the Rift package in there helps you out a lot. You know, draw cards, get the board, get some armor, but overall, you have Anima Extractor. You like to try and combo it a little bit later in the game with, like, say, a Sun Fury champion. You basically play with, like, Embers of Strength, hit your whole board, and then you buff up, like, your Amornias, your Gromashes, your Decimator Ulgras, burn your opponent out, and you can just out-tempo people. And the latest card of Jam Session from the mini set is just busted in the deck. Another whirlwind effect, something you just slap onto any minion, like a Foul Egg, or you get those, you know, a Death Rattle with insane stats. Really good deck, not the easiest to pilot, but absolutely once you get a handle on it, you can just destroy people. It's really, really good. And the deck that has really started to take off, it is doing really well. I took a look at the matchups for it. It loses to like 3 decks. It loses to like Paladin and like a couple other minor things. It's super strong. And that's like the big beast Hound Hunter, which, yes, it got Hollow Hound, which just gives this deck incredible healing. The healing I've seen from it, just putting bananas on it, can be really solid. Hope of cQFAAA, incredible in this deck. One of the best cards, if not the best card in the deck, believe it or not. Super strong. And yes, Lorthamar apparently is worth running. You slap down Lorthamar rather than 2 copies of Faithful Companions, and you buff like King Crush. You get a gigantic charge minion. It gets +9, or sorry, +8/+8. Or, as we mentioned, Hollow Hound is even more healing. Like, this deck is pretty fun to play. You play big beasts, you know, curve out with your good early game too. It's just an all-around super solid deck. One I absolutely can recommend. With the recently buffed Halduran, which, by the way, I just don't like those signatures. I need the golden in here. But yeah, really, really good deck. Wild Spear, the Spear package is still doing super well. Absolutely 100% can recommend. Those top 3 decks are just feels like above and beyond everything else. But I will suggest Relic Demon Hunter. I know a lot of people like the Relic style, and the list has evolved to now where you're running Enchanter as another card to kind of couple up with Unleash Spell or Taste of Chaos, Relic of Extinction. A lot of synergies there. Ozic makes the cut because this card is just basically busted in almost every deck, period, because you play it on curve and win. But yeah, the usual deal. Play Relic Vault, play your relics, cheat a bunch of mana, destroy your opponent. Esthino doesn't even make the cut because you just win through just insane value. Mana Cheat, Zealags, Astalors that you can all copy up. Photographer Fizzle, very strong deck. Can be a lot of fun to play, not necessarily to face, at least for me. I can't stand the Mass Mana Cheat. Also, Silver Moon, Arcanist, and Unleash Spell is just illegal. It's just broken. This has got to get nerfed at some point, I got to imagine, but as it stands right now, you could basically clear a board and heal to full and push face damage all at the same time for like 4 and 5 mana. It's just ridiculous. And yeah, the deck is pretty good. And the last one I'll leave off with is probably the weakest, but I gotta throw one control option out there. As you'll see in Wild, that's not a possibility. And yeah, Control Priest is very good still. It can beat a lot of different decks. You can just scam through random shenanigans. It's not really seen an addition of like any new cards. It's a little bit teched out for the meta with Double Viper for the Paladin weapon in particular, or like an Imbued Axe or a Giant Remordia minion, things like that as well. I noticed the 1-drop location isn't there, the healing one, because Burn isn't as popular. You're not seeing as much Frost Death Knight. Burn Mage has fallen off, so you don't need as much healing. Go for a bit more value with your cards like Hipster and things like that. And your ETC's band has another Shadowword Ruin, Steam Cleaner, Theotar. You can think of like Audio Amplifier in there if you want as well. And of course, you have infinite value with Sister Svalna with infinite Mana Cheat in Love Everlasting. Deck, I enjoy playing it. I think it's a fun control deck. I just will say the mirror is a thing of nightmares. So if you get that, you might be in for a very long game that might just end in a tie if everybody's just drowning everybody's minions over and over. But it's definitely the best control deck in the meta. It's certainly legend capable, and people hit rank 1 with it, so it's not like it's particularly weak. And for Wild is very aggressive. Wild's very aggressive. Not going to recommend any of those APM deck with funnel cakes because honestly, they're not very good. They're popular. They're really frustrating to face. I could see it banned to one of those type of cards, but overall, they're very weak. They're very weak to disruption. I don't want to recommend them because I don't think you're going to have a fast climb. Whereas decks like Quest Druid, I went 16-0 to Legend with a 10x bonus just the other day with this exact build, and Quest Druid is just ridiculous. The quest is so easy to complete, you push so much damage, and very few decks can kill you because you're gaining so much armor at the same time, and you can also cheat out giant threats like Arcane Giants, Crypt Keepers, Umbral Owls. I have a copy of Oracle of Elune that once these get down to 2 or less, you can cheat out even more of them. It's a really solid deck that only really loses to like really hyper aggressive decks or like, you know, a lot of freezing and things like that. It's just a really good deck, and I think it's pretty much the best deck in Wild right now. It's very solid and relatively easy to play. You know, the quest tells you what you got to do, and you mostly just want to go faced and remove the taunts while you can. This build does have a bit more of that beast package like Groovy Cat. They can let you scale your hero power. I faced a Blood Decay in Wild and just copied up Groovy Cats with not only Oracle of Elune and but Moonlit Guidance and stuff, and I was dealing like 12 damage, which was my hero power turn. I didn't even need my quest reward. Anyways, really solid deck. Secret Mage. Can you believe it? It's still really good. Also, arguably the best deck in the format. Costume Singer is just ridiculous. Like, this card is so stupid. You always draw a secret when you play it, right? And it can snowball from there. It's just Secret Mage. I don't know what else to say. You probably hate it, but if you play it, you're probably gonna like winning some games, so I definitely will recommend it. Same with Even Shaman. Not much has changed. I put a spicier build that has ETC with some tech cards if you really want to, with like Eater of Secrets, Boom Bistle Bully, and Lotheb. They're odd cards, so you're breaking the rules. But yeah, it's Even Shaman. Summon Totems and all that stuff, and I guess they're teched out for the APM decks with Cult Neophyte. You can always cut those, put whatever you want. It's just a pretty straightforward deck. Kingsbane Rogue, again, another really good deck. Main issue with it is it does lose to Quest Druid because they're doing the exact same thing as you, but gaining armor at the same time, which can be rather daunting. You do have the advantage that you can kind of time your Cloak of Shadows or like an evasion pretty well, but overall you just want to, you know, get Shiny Finder, buff up your giant weapon with Harmonic Hip Hop, which is absurd, Mic Drop, you get some big lifesteal, possibly with Leeching Poison, which does work with Doomerang. Be aware of that, so you can like double dip on that heal, and just, yeah, really solid deck. I find it fun to play. Again, super degenerate. And the last deck I will recommend, another aggro deck, because that meta is super aggressive. Mech Paladin. This card is ridiculous in Wild. Radar Detector. It draws 5 cards almost always, and then you just play your Mech Warper, Galvanizer, your Frequency Oscillator, play your entire hand, and probably win. And it's a good counter to Quest Druid, because you do all of that, slam down a Bubble Bot, they can't get through all the taunts, and you just kill them. So one of the best counters out there, and you have a second way of getting your Radar Detector in Stonehearth Vindicator, which always draws that spell, so pretty good. And even Disco Mall has been thrown in there just for some extra burst and all of that. So yeah, those are the decks I'm recommending. I guess it'll probably be our last deck recommendation until the next balance patch, which could happen next week. So be aware of that if you want to craft any of this stuff. Things could change as soon as then. But overall, I think most of these decks have stayed pretty tried and true for quite some time. So good luck on your climbs. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day and stay salty, my friends.